recording has started. This is the Social3 webinar. This is, without a doubt, a work in progress. If you are recording a version of, if you are listening to a version of this, go and head out to paulcolligan.com/social3 and see if there are any updates. Because this is a work in progress. The industry always changes. Who knows? By the time you watch this, we might be at Social 4. But today's topic is Social 3. All right. Social 1. Those of you who've heard me speak before, those of you who have seen me present before, you know I speak of Web 1.0 versus Web 2.0. And Web 1.0 was essentially meet me on the web at my site. That's where, it started on the internet. So come to paulcolligan.com, buy a product, do this kind of thing. It still works. It's still a very profitable model. Amazon does a great job at it. When I get done with this webinar, I'm going to head over to my P.O. box and pick up about $700 worth of equipment that I purchased from Amazon. A very much Web 1.0 type of destination. It's a great model. It's just not where I am at. Now, Social 2 was basically, where do you want to meet me? That was the realization, that it has changed, absolutely changed from being, let's, what we'll do here, show you some fun new tech. Instead of being an issue of meeting me, it's where do you want to meet? It changed from me to you. And this is vital. This is really, really, really key because this is where the web is going. And this is what makes it so powerful. It's no longer come to, paulcolligan.com and do everything. You can come to my Facebook page. You can come to my YouTube channels. You can listen to my Twitter stuff. You can, catch me up on Google+, wherever you want. That is Social 2. And Social 2 has been interesting. And Social 2 is where the majority of people are. But I realized it's for me, a major difference. You might consider it to be more of a 0.5 jump. I'm not quite sure. Basically, we are now at Social 3. And Social 3 is extremely important because in Social 3 now, it's all about attention. I don't care anymore. It used to be preference was come to my website. I don't care anymore. Now I just want your attention. And attention beats the location by all means. And this is where we're going. So let's chat about that and what that means, shall we? Obviously. Okay, so today we're going to cover basically three things have changed. My thinking has changed. I used to think one way about social. I used to think one way about destination sites and web strategies, and many of you have been with me down that path before. The thinking has changed, and with the changing of the thinking comes the changing of the infrastructure. I'm changing my infrastructure pretty radically, and I want to show you exactly what I'm doing. It's actually quite minimalist. It's actually quite simple. I think a lot of you will breathe a sigh of relief when you see what I've done inside of my infrastructure. And my infrastructure changes requires some very specific changes to my blog. And the changes to my blog, again, are simplistic, and I brought in a tech partner on that one that I think is going to make it even easier and, if all goes well, more powerful. So let's chat about this. Now, changes of thinking. I want you to see something. This is Lady Gaga's home site, okay? We got to love Gaga. Everybody loves Gaga. And but I want you to notice some things about Gaga, okay? Number one, over here in the, this right here, I didn't do the whole website because it's massive, but this is YouTube, okay? The entry on Gaga's blog is a YouTube video. It's not original content. It's just a reposting of the YouTube video. And it's something that doesn't, so you could just as easily get it at Gaga's blog and Gaga's website as you could get it, at YouTube. It doesn't really matter. Now, if you notice up here, Gaga's on Facebook with, 42 billion million users. But Gaga's not just doing YouTube and not doing Facebook. Gaga's also doing Twitter. And she's got a lot of followers there. And, of course, she's not just doing those things. She's in the App Store, And these featured sites are sending people to other websites, in the Gaga empire, for lack of a better term. So what has happened is, Gaga has, if you will, a destination site. But the destination site really is a jumping-off point. And one thing that's really cool here is Gaga sells nothing at this website. There's no buy button, okay? The UI, let's get that right. There's no buy button. There's no place to spend money here. Now, obviously, if you go out to the App Store, you can buy stuff, and she's even got some stuff hooked up to her Facebook page. And if you head out to iTunes and these types of things, there's plenty of places to do it. But there is no buying feature on Gaga's website. She doesn't have an email newsletter. She's basically has this destination because there are people who are going to type in ladygaga.com. But really, when you think about it, when the long and short is done, this website's, really there only for the people who type in ladygaga.com. And those people are becoming less and less. People are leaving, I read a research, I read a paper that some colleges are eliminating email. I mean, colleges, email started at colleges, but now the colleges are eliminating email. Why? Because the kids just aren't using email anymore. They're using SMS, they're using Facebook messaging and these types of things. And if you just don't need to use something, don't do it. And that's what Gaga's got here. iTunes has the infrastructure to sell her music much better than she could ever come up with. Twitter has a distribution mechanism much better than some, SMS system that she could set up. Facebook does social better than she could possibly imagine, although she does an incredible job of leveraging the social that they do. But it's a pretty phenomenal thing that she's set up, and hats off to Gaga for that. So that was my first moment of brainstorm here. Now, I was looking at my blog, and I was looking at the numbers of my blog, the page views from my blog. Now, for those of you who have read this, my RSS experiments and that kind of stuff, the RSS numbers inside of FeedBurner are just kind of dead. RSS really just has not gone, has not gone where we thought it was going to go. And, although I have this idea of everybody subscribing to me and reading, that kind of stuff, RSS just isn't doing it for me. So we got destination to the blog. I mean, I got a few people reading it, but the fact of the matter is, this is just Monday of this week. Well, actually yesterday, you can see right here, yesterday a posting I did on Facebook got 1,040 impressions. It's just something I did yesterday. A little, what is it? It's noon, so 29 hours ago, 1,040. This one, this is a posting that I did on Monday, 1,288 impressions. Okay? My Facebook page is getting considerably more play than my blog is. Now why is this? What be Facebook? Well, it's because Facebook is a destination. Facebook is where they go. And this is where I need to be. Now, we've chatted about this. This is the part of Web 2. But what has happened is the blog. How do I say this? Facebook for this type of content is becoming more important than my blog is. Now, I put this at my blog as well in this particular example, but Facebook's becoming incredibly, incredibly important, and I'm just seeing bigger numbers. And Facebook is certainly greater than RSS, where I kind of built my blogging infrastructure before. So what do we do with this? Well, these are just kind of the alerts, some of the things that are popping up for me. All right. Now, so I was having a conversation with my wife, my sweet bride. We just celebrated 18 years a couple of weeks ago. And I was telling Heidi some of my strategies and some of the places I'm going and some of the things I'm doing and the things that take time. And we were just, evaluating life and different things. And Heidi goes, we're like, well, what's taking time? I like blogging every week. And she says, Paul, why do you blog? And I started to give an answer. She goes, but Paul, everybody blogs. Blogging is not special anymore. There is no real thing about blogging, and guys, blog nothing. I can tell when you're lying, little girls and baby dolls. The lame blog, these are just blogs that I picked up, through search, finding terms. But she's right. Everybody and their mother blogs. Now, I wrote, and you guys have heard me speak of times where I'd come to events and people I wanted to meet came up to me and shook my hand and said, Paul, I subscribe to your blog. And that was the connection. Well, you know what? I'm not getting that anymore. They're not subscribing to my blog. Where are they going? Well, as you can see from what we're doing here, they're not going to my blog anymore. They're following me Facebook with these types of numbers. And they're not going to the blog. And the blog is becoming passe. It's becoming like the single, as a media format, is becoming, like the animated GIF is becoming, something that's still out there, but it's not necessarily grabbing people's attention anymore. And, my wife was right, and she usually is. So, affected my thinking. Now, this one was interesting. The Washington Post, oh my goodness, and I forgot, I did not do this screenshot correctly here, but the Washington Post did an article, and man, this is embarrassing, but basically, the ESPN podcast, okay, take a look at this one. The ESPN podcast, basically, the ESPN podcast, which used to be huge and well, actually it still is huge, and part of the problem was that it was so huge. ESPN decided they put a 24-hour delay, 24 hours, guys, a 24-hour delay on the ESPN podcast. Why? Because people weren't going to the radio anymore. People were listening to the podcast instead of the radio. And, for somebody who runs ESPN radio, that was kind of terrifying to people. So, ESPN decided to kind of, stick their head in the ground, if you will, and kind of run away from it, and it's kind of sad. And basically, it's kind of funny, podcasting is seeing a renaissance. And I know some of you are thinking, what does this mean for podcast secrets? Don't know, haven't figured it out yet. But, I've restarted the internet marketing well, I have not restarted. Internet marketing this week, we are meeting together a lot more. I've actually got an episode in the can I got to edit up once I get done with this presentation. This Week in Podcasting is coming back strong. This Week in Podcasting is going to be a media partner at the Blog World Media Expo. Podcasting is coming back strong. And, you guys knew my passion there. It was, basically, you wherever it is that you want to be. So blogging is going away. Facebook is getting strong. Podcasting is coming back. What does this mean? What do we do with this stuff? Oh, Paul, hope you got an answer. I think I've got an idea. And then this one. This presentation blew me away. I've watched this thing like 4 times. This is Steve Jobs and the whole cloud thing. And this is tremendous. And basically over here, and watch the presentation over at Apple, but basically the old way they used to think about things was the computer was the hub. The computer would go to the iPad, the computer would go to the iPhone, the computer would go to the iPod Touch, the computer would go all these places. Well, that is dead. And what they realized over at Apple is that people are on their phone as much as they're on their iPad, as much as they're on their iPod, as much as they're on their computer, and basically nothing has, the computer, if anything, has kind of gone down in importance. Now, nothing's changed. People still want their content. People still want their media. People still want all these things. But the fact of the matter is, really, life is now in the cloud. And so what they've done is they've changed. The computer basically has gone down here. The cloud is the focus of all things. And now, if you buy something, your activity, your action is in the cloud. Email is in the cloud. Your calendar in the cloud. Everything is in the cloud, and then it just goes down to all of your devices as needed. And the cloud becomes the center of stuff. And, of course, that's a little product called iCloud, and, which is part of this. But the computer has changed from the destination of choice to one of the many destinations. I hope that makes sense. From destination of choice to one of many destinations. And I think this analogy, I think this examination, the same could be said for my blog. Maybe my blog has changed, moved from the destination of choice to one of many destinations. I'm not saying give up the blog. I'm just saying maybe it's not quite as important as it used to be. Okay, I did this a couple of months ago, and this is a post from my blog. You can go ahead and look it up. But basically, I put a link, and the whole desire was to get opt-ins. And I put a link out on Facebook, on Twitter, and on generic and focused emails. And the link did well, but I want you to notice some things, okay? Facebook got me 15.25% of my total opt-ins. Now, that is not a tremendous amount. Obviously, email did much better for me. Email got 44 and 37, so email got, what is that, 81%? And, email got the most of it, and I would much rather have my email list than my Facebook list. But what's really, really important here is the best click-to-opt-in ratio was Facebook by far. Facebook, 30% clicks to opt-ins. Email, 27 on one, 21% on the other. Click to opt-ins, people who are interested, who engage in the process, they were more likely to do so by Facebook. Now, your Facebook 100% consultants would go with the, the whole kill email thing, and that's not the answer. Others will go with the Facebook-only thing. Well, that's not the answer. What do you do with this information? Well, what it is you take all of it and you grow Facebook much the same way as you grow email, as you grow Twitter, as you grow YouTube, as you grow all these things. A lot of content here, I know. All right. Now, so what am I going to do? What am I going to do about it? Well, in the past, I shared with you guys this whole idea of a blog network and the idea that I would have a bunch of different blogs with a bunch of different purposes. And you guys saw my blog format, from the Colligan.com network, and I had a bunch of Colligan.com blogs. One of them was Paul Recommends. You can see how recent it's been since I've updated it. Grabbed the screenshot today. But I had a bunch of blogs. I had a blog for Paul Recommends. I had a blog for the NMIC. I had the blog for, the Business Podcasting Bible. I had the blog for a bunch of other places. And what has happened is they were getting ignored. Why? Because they just weren't that valuable. But I kind of thought I had to have this network because, I kind of thought, my blog was at the top, above Facebook and above YouTube and all these things. But the fact of the matter is the blog is gone here. And I just need one. Sending people to Paul Recommends is silly. Sending people to New Media Inner Circle is silly. Sending people to Business Podcasting Blog is silly. I just need one blog. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm killing the blog network. And all the other blogs are going to die. And the blogs are going to basically post to a sub-page. So, paulrecommends.com is really just going to be paulcolligan.com/whatever it is that I recommend. Is where I'm going to be my recommendation link. And the NMIC is going to get an update, only through Twitter and these types of things. But the very first thing I'm doing is I am killing the blog network. Hope that's okay. The next thing I'm doing is rapid content creation. Now this posting, many of you guys participated in this, but a lot of you people didn't realize what the behind-the-scenes tech was here, okay? As you can see here, I used a product called AudioBoo. AudioBoo is a product, an iPhone app, and basically I just talked into the iPhone. I recorded it, and then whenever you do an AudioBoo, you're allowed to attach a picture to it. Now, in this particular case, what I did was I grabbed a picture just right off an iPhone screencast or screen grab. So I just basically did the the home and power button, grabbed this, and then I published this to Posterous. Okay, and Posterous published it to my blog automatically. I had that thing set up. So, literally I took my phone, I recorded this message inside of AudioBoo. I published it to Posterous using the AudioBoo app. I didn't go to the Posterous app. I just used AudioBoo. I recorded it. It published. I did this while I was out. It took this picture, and then it went to, it went to Posterous, and it went to my blog. Now, the amazing thing was the Google Plus Hangout was incredibly well attended. I did rapid content creation. I did not sit down and spend all this time creating my content. What I did was I just gave the information that I needed to give, and the content was audio, and I put it on Posterous, and Posterous put it on my blog. Posterous also put it out on Twitter. It published it a bunch of places because this was really, this was really platform independent. It really didn't matter where this went. This message. Obviously we had to go to Google Plus, the Google Plus Hangout, and a bunch of people did. But this whole thing was completely and totally independent. And it worked great. And instead of me sitting down and writing the blog post and doing all these things, I was able to produce this whole process really in, let's see how long, didn't say how long the message was. Really, I think it's less than, less than 5 minutes, I think. Certainly less than 10. And, rapid content creation came easily. And rapid content creation doesn't have to be audio. I can do this on YouTube with video. I mean, the iPhone cameras are absolutely fabulous. I can do audio. I can do, whatever I want. There's a, what's the app called? AudioVox. AudioVox is an iPhone app that will let you record an audio piece, automatically put it into Dropbox, and then your sister or somebody can take the Dropbox piece and publish things out. So rapid content production is where I'm going. Blog posts, you'll notice, aren't as big and as long form as they used to be. I'm just creating content for my one blog very, very differently. What else do we have? Okay. I'm also creating content where I'm really not thinking about my blog anymore. I'm thinking about the destination. I'm thinking about the audience. Google Plus has popped up, and Google Plus has become really, really interesting. And it's funny, there are people vying to be the next Google Plus expert or whatnot. And how do I say this? I found, kind of as trying to figure out what Google Plus was, I found that it was really kind of funny. Bing was doing a better job of searching Google than actually Google was, and Google Plus, and it was just absolutely funny. So I did this video up at YouTube, and I put it at YouTube, and then I shared it with Chris Brogan. Oops. Shared it with Chris Brogan inside of Google Plus. He's an amplifier. And what Chris did was Chris told everybody and their mother about this. He published a content piece about this, and I got 1,911 views, and my content got viewed on the Next Web, which is a massive blog. So I got a couple thousand people to look at this, and I got the Next Web to pick me up. More than I get on Facebook, definitely more than I get on my blog, more than I get on different places. I got a whole bunch of subscribes. I got a whole bunch of interaction. It was just really, really interesting. Now, the funny thing is, I got some dislikes, which means as well as some likes, I got some interaction, I got a lot of comments, I got all the things you want to get. And I published this content completely and totally independently. And the funny thing was, if I did a blog post about this, Next Web wouldn't pick me up. If I did a tweet about this, Next Web wouldn't have picked me up. It was the video that got the attention of Chris. Oops, I just erased everything. It was the video, it was this that got the attention of Chris, and it was Chris who got the attention of the Next Web, completely and totally independent of my blog. See how this works? So that I can do that. Wow, even more ways to control with my pen here. All right, next page. So, I am changing everything. And part of how I'm changing everything is I am moving to a new WordPress theme. And what's funny is if you looked at my blog and you saw, the screenshots a couple back here, it looks like I haven't changed my blog at all. I actually have changed my blog. I've changed my blog tremendously. And I'm using a company called Howling Dog Themes. With the K9 control panel, and they've done some stuff with WordPress that I haven't seen anywhere else. And I'm going to have them show you. I've got Kelly from Howling Dog Themes here. And of course, my control panel for the, there we go. Let's bring up, I'm going to give Kelly control here. And Kelly, you now have control of the screen. And what I want you to do, Kelly, is give me a full screen. And, well, by the way, Kelly, meet everybody. Everybody meet Kelly. Say hi, everybody. Hi. Kelly, are you there?
I'm here.
Beautiful, sir. All right, I'm giving you the screen. I can see your screen now. Show us what you've done, would you?
Okay, yes. So here we've got paulcolligan.com, which you're all familiar with. And one of the first things that we've done, and Paul was heading down this direction a while ago too, where the network is important. So right here in the heading, we've got YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and RSS feed. One of the things that we've done in designing what we call the Colligan theme is making this stuff interchangeable, because although easily a month ago these icons in the top of his theme were perfectly valid, with the advent of Google Plus, now all of a sudden, now he has something different he wants to add up there. So normally in the old world we'd have to go in, with Photoshop, edit the header, recode the image map for the RSS icon, put in the other one, etc. Because we know social media is a core element and the network of properties out there is a core element on the blog, that we've created a tool that makes it easy to do that, built right into the theme. So we're going to do
one thing I want to stress, Kelly. Actually, go back to my home screen there.
Yep.
Earlier in the presentation, I basically showed that RSS isn't my friend anymore. And I used to push. I mean, it's not that it isn't my friend anymore. It's just the least important friend I have.
Right.
And call me an egotist for judging the value of my friends. But the fact of the matter is, RSS is such a small part of my plan anymore. It certainly does not get above the fold in everything I do. Now, the traditional WordPress template, it's now time to call the developer to get the header redesigned, to get around, to get rid of this whole RSS thing. And
right.
So I just wanted to emphasize and set that up. So go ahead, Kelly, keep going.
So here we've logged in. You can see this is the live Paul Colligan website actually. And what we're going to do is we're going to go right to the K9 control panel, which then opens up the controls. And this is the interface. We'll talk a little bit about it, where you can affect your theme. So the idea is putting control of your theme back into your hands. So very similar to how WordPress helps people generate lots of content, and it manages your content, gives you control and options. We're trying to give that same level of control in the theme. So in the case of the Colligan theme, over here we have some theme options. And the main option we have is the ability to pick and choose badges and then setting the link. And by just setting them here, you're able to make updates on the site. So right now, image number 4, badge number 4 is the RSS badge. Well, we don't want that. We have a new badge for Google+. So I'm going to click Browse, head out to my out on my hard drive where we did design a new Google badge. Hang on here. There we are. So here's the new badge for Google+. Hit open, and then I need to change the link, so what it links to. So out here, I have Paul's current link. And by the way, what's nice is if that link changes for some reason down the road, you just log into your website, go to the theme options, and you can put in your new link. And now by hitting save, I'm going to come back out to our theme, and we'll hit refresh. And now in the upper right, we have a bright, shiny new Google Plus icon. And when you click on it, it opens up a new window and goes out to the Google Plus window, or to the main page.
So what we've done here is we have 4 slots that can have 4 images, depending on whatever I want those to be. And right now, they're YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. I'm going to predict out loud that the next one to go might be Twitter. But with that interface that you just showed, I can now pick the icon of my choice. Who knows, Comcast comes up with a social network. I don't know. And, I can come up with the Comcast social network button, put it in the 3rd place, replace Twitter out with it, or maybe move Google to 1st and put Comcast at the end or whatnot. I mean, it doesn't matter. I've got that ability to change my header to whatever social media platforms I'm interested in right now, correct?
Right, and of course you don't have to do all 4. If you just, in the control panel, if you just change it, if you just delete, if you choose no image, or remove it to just select an image, and you delete out the link, just remove the icon altogether. So you don't have to be a social media maven like Paul is and always have 4 and maybe almost wish you had more. You can actually have 1, 2, or 3, or none, or 4 up there, because again, everything that we're doing with this is trying to put control back into your hands, so that you spend more time focusing on content and delivering your message, and less time trying to figure out, or how do I get my theme updated? Which, by the way, brings us to kind of another piece. Is right now there's a 3-column layout on this theme where you've got content on the left and you've got 2 sidebars on the right. And depending on how social media changes, there was a while back, Paul had his Facebook page feed was showing up on here. Now he's got his Twitter feed down here. Depending on how the size and those things change, every time you have a different social media platform or a different way that you want to present information, you're going to have you're going to have things that will collide with how your theme is done. Well, the good news is, again, back here at the K9 control panel, we can go to the layout. Actually, I want to go over to my test site. Now, we don't want to actually spend a bunch of time messing up Paul's real site. Not that we can't undo it, but here's a different look of the same theme. So now we'll go to the K9 control panel here, and instead of having the 2 sidebars on the right, I'm going to come down to layout, go to my sidebars, and let's say all I want is 1 sidebar on the right. So we're not going to group them, and the right sidebar, I actually want it to be wide. I want it to be 300 pixels wide. One right-hand sidebar that's now 300 pixels wide, so giving us the opportunity as the kinds of media change that we want to stick over here. Maybe we want to start doing ads. Maybe we want to have feeds from different social platforms. I can just click a few buttons and hit save, and we're done. Another nice part about being able to change the layout, so again, from this K9 control panel we have here, as you saw in this window, left sidebar, right sidebar, we can have them on the left, on the right, 2 on the right, 2 on the left, all those, or no sidebars. None is also an option. All those features are here. In addition to that, you can have your default website, but now what do you do if you want to do a landing page? What do you do if you have a special seminar that you're doing and you don't want all that clutter, or you have something special that you need to do on a particular page? So in this particular, on the old layout with the 2 sidebars, there's very little content. So I'm going to come out to a page. This one's just called another page. This is obviously a test site. When I edit this page, I can come down, and one of the template options is, instead of the default, I can choose any option I want. And I think one of the most common ones we're going to have is what's called no sidebars, because that makes for a great sales page or landing page, or a page that has all the content that you would want to fit on a page. As it historically, with all the clients I've worked with, that's probably the most common. You have your system default, and then people will do a version with no sidebars. So now here you've got a page now with no sidebars, or if you wanted left or if you needed right. So the ability to go in and override on particular settings by simply logging in, going to the right, the correct tab underneath go to the K9 control panels. No, in this case, going to the page template and then just changing the template layout for that page. So now, while it's different on this one, you go back to the home page or the contact us page or the about page, and it still has your system default. So providing you that ability to change overall how your site looks, but also what changes on individual pages.
So I'm changing design, I'm changing layout, I'm changing form without a single crack of CSS, without any coding, without any template modifications, plugins, that kind of stuff, because I have this framework. So now I can do rapid content creation and even page layout now with this, with a relatively relative level of ease that just simply wasn't there before. And for those of you who've been following me in the past, two big themes in my life. Problems I have with WordPress, if you will. Well, the mobile version. Well, the great thing is I've got Plugin Buddy, which is running my mobile version completely independent of this, so that's fine. YouTube continues to be the WordPress continues to be the content management system that it is. And the other thing is backup, and I've got Backup Buddy, and Backup Buddy once a day takes a whole copy of this bad boy and puts it up at S3 for me. So my two biggest fears have gone away. And now I've got ease of use, and WordPress just got a heck of a lot easier. WordPress just got a heck of a lot easier. I hope you see that. And this does fit into the bigger plan that we're going to chat about here, but I know Kelly has a few more things to show us.
Yeah, I hit a couple other highlights. Again, each one of these, the idea is that it's providing, it's making those things that we do commonly on our site or that we wish we could do easily, making those things easier. So as you've seen now, the core of a lot of these things is based in this canine control panel. That is part of the parent theme, child theme scenario that we went, because everything we do, we try to do with the WordPress way, quote unquote. That if there's a preferred way to do it instead of WordPress, we want to do it that way. That helps future-proof all the work that we're doing. And when you go, if somebody has to come in and get work underneath the hood, then they're going to understand, oh yeah, you guys did it this way. That's the way WordPress normally does that. And so we try to make life easy. So here we have the our kind of, we consider fairly intuitive controls, where you've got, you just go across the tabs, layout. You have your overall layout. How wide do you want your site to be? How the margins, the outside margins, the inside margins, the header. You can toggle the header on or off. How high do you want the title and information inside of it to be centered, left aligned, right aligned? All those items, and all this is being done by clicking buttons. We already saw the sidebar. Navigation, all of a sudden what used to take tons of programming, now you can change height, width, how wide's the drop down, how high are these things. And then as you go through, you think of these elements individually or what you do to it. So that was layout. Now we have fonts. And if we want to change the fonts, we use this system called Kufon that lets you, you can take any font and you can turn it into a JavaScript overlay. So it's still search engine friendly, but you can have anti-aliased, fancy-looking fonts, and so and have it show up in your heading. So right now, let me get back to the test site. So under the fonts, we've got, I happen to have a few loaded, so I'm going to change it to the Sniglet font and add the heading and hit save. And now you look at what the heading here is and what the font is here at the top. And when you hit refresh, now you have the new font. Now, this is without this comes across as a anti-alias a graphic type heading, although that's the way it looks, and it gives you the option to create some very unique things by simply, again, clicking a few buttons. So we have a lot of fun with those items. But you got fonts, we've got colors, we've got design. We have this thing we call variable content. This was our bucket for things that we didn't know what to do with. Do you want the author and timestamp to show? Do you want categories or tags to appear on your posts? So do you want
all
to
the granular functionality that
yes.
once was CSS or the right template for the job is now a canine control element. And the thing I love here is we see canine control is not even version 1 yet. At the time of this recording, at least. And
right.
Everything I possibly could want now in this destination site is no longer a template theming CSS coding. Now, if I got to do something special, I see custom CSS is there. But so far, I can't think of anything that I need to do that you don't have in here.
Right. And just one last little look at this control panel is probably the most fun feature is for those who are doing design or you want to update your design by simply underneath this tab, you just choose your background element. So in the case of the Colligan theme, one of the cores is the different headers. And we've actually included 15 different headers here. And so by simply clicking on a different header and you hit save, and of course on our website you can see what all the 15 different headers are. Then when you hit refresh, you've changed the second one finishes loading here. It changes the look of your site by simply changing the font, by changing the header. You've now got a whole new look to your website. 1 second here, and the magic loads.
Always fun to do these things live.
Yeah, and so now we got this. Yeah, now we've got this crazy yellow background, and by the way, the font is off now because the white doesn't look good on that kind of a background. That's okay because remember I just said font and that's a color. So I'm going to come over here to color, and that's the header, and so I'm going to change it from the white to a different kind of a color. Let's go with a green. So you either enter in your hex code, or you can use the color wheel here. I'm going to hit save. And so this intuitive control panel kind of puts this in your control. Now you actually are able to go through and make edits. I think the other piece is that's kind of how it looks. Now, how do you start putting content into some of these different areas? The other, I think, core focus of this, I'm going to change the font back because I can't stand that font. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just a personal preference here. Okay. Is the concept of widgets, which if you're inside of WordPress, you're gonna have to deal with them at some point or another because that's how all the sidebars and things are done. We use that to the nth degree. That every element now has its own bucket. We've bucketized the widgets, and so if you want to know, gosh, how do I change that thing in the footer? Well, you can put whatever you want. You can use a custom menu widget. In this case, I just used the text widget and used, in this case, just the regular old HTML. And for 2011, for the company copyright, or in the subfooter, we have a custom menu. So now we have a menu that's using the WordPress navigation menus that are relatively easy to use that now create the footers down here and the copyrights all there ready for you to use, let alone the normal sidebars. And all this also works with the navigation, the content area. If you add something into this area, puts it right above the content. This is a great way to put PHP code in a breadcrumb menu or something in there. So as you use plugins, we make it easy for you to add and remove things in there. Navigation, we have a normal top nav, in there. There's a couple of dynamic header plugins if you want the heading to change on every page. Well, you just then turn off our header and add it in here, and you add in the dynamic widget code, and now you've instantly got the feature of a different header on every page. So again, this widgetized, bucketized widgets that then when you go, how do I edit this? You don't have to wonder. It's like, is this a header? Is this a footer? Is this a sidebar? And then you just jump over to the widget. And that makes it easy.
That's possibly the ugliest page I've ever seen right there, with the yellow and the green.
Yeah, I changed that yellow back too.
No, I mean, it's good for example. It shows the extremes that you can take this to, but it's just...
Yeah, bad extremes, but not that we technically need to change it, but that'll be back to something. I think the other element is, probably the last one, is that we are search engine friendly. So, and Paul, you kind of mentioned this a little bit during your presentation, but you and I were talking the other day also that while you're posting out to all these different social media platforms and letting people consume information wherever they are and however they like, when it came to Google or Bing, what was showing up was still your blog for a lot of items, that you're having your website was still the place to be, which then means for us, we still have to be search engine friendly. You still have to show up. So even though we may have fancy ways to do titles, they're done in a way that when a search engine robot looks at it, they see nothing but the straight text on the code. We do things like if you were to not have a horizontal navigation and you were to remove it, we don't just hide it, we actually, from the code, it is removed dynamically so that it never appears, so that what you see on the screen is pretty much exactly what the search engine robot is going to see. And we made sure that we worked well with the #1 search engine optimization plugin, all-in-one SEO. So since they solved a whole bunch of the problems, we made our theme complement everything that they do. But also, if you wanted to choose any number of other, there's 2 or 3 other good search engine plugins, you can just throw those things in and they'll work. And ours basically complements, creates a framework that your preferred method of how you do search engine optimization will work with it. So we're pretty happy about that. And so, what this comes down to, and kind of the last point here, is that because of the way we've done the framework, because certain themes we add in options, like in this case, in the Colligan theme, you've got the ability to add or remove these special features badges in the header. Because you can move sidebars left and right, or you can upload new headers or do backgrounds without having to know any HTML code. So, you come down here to colors, and you look at the content area, and you're able to change link colors, heading colors, post titles, basically what 99% of the people would do 100% of the time, all covered through here. And we also give the crazy ones who want to go in and deal with the custom.css, or you have to do fixes for Internet Explorer, of all things. We've got a place for you to fit in all the extra code. We have a concept called hangers that lets you, out in the actual files, you can hang additional code, PHP or whatever you want, above and below different elements, and integrating stuff so that on certain pages, certain things can happen. Basically, you can, if you can dream it, you can code it in our framework. Most people won't ever have to go that far. They just want a simple framework that they can edit and use, so that, again, they can focus on content. This arguably could be, the last theme framework and the last theme that someone would ever buy for their site, because if you want a new look, you just either get a new child theme, or you just upload a new template. You do a new background. You change the sidebars left or right. You change the colors. All that stuff is so easy to do now that you can basically reinvent your site from this day forward as many times as you want in any instantiation you want, without having to learn anything new. So,
no, which is awesome, and which is exactly where I'm going here. So I'm going to take back this. Now you're going to hang out because you want to chat about some stuff at the end of this, but I wanted to introduce you here where it flowed intelligently into my situation here. So how does what Kelly just showed you mix in with what I've been chatting about? Well, as you can guess, it's, the let's bring it all together slide. All right. So, Social3 is essentially, attention. Let's get a pen here. Okay. Attention is more important than location now. Okay. I don't care where they go as long as they see me. Now, yes, that was part of the Web 2.0 model, but I was part of the mix. Now I have one social destination of my own, and everything else is somebody else's. PaulColligan.com is everything now. All the rest are dying. And I needed something massive, something controllable, something manageable, something where I can do special things on. I mean, if I'm going to have one page, if I'm going to have one site that does everything, I got to be able to have the ability to get rid of the left and right navigation bars, like Kelly showed you. The ability to add stuff quickly and easily. Basically, I mean, it's as easy now to modify my one social destination as it is Facebook or as it is YouTube or anything like that. If anything, it's easier. So, like I shared with, I have one social destination all my own. It's paulcolligan.com, run by the Colligan theme. And couldn't be more thrilled. And I mean, you saw how quickly Kelly changed, from RSS to Google+, and that's it. That's live now. I mean, I want to do this live at the event. It will now be Google+. You're just not going to see the RSS feed anymore. Will I offer RSS? Sure. for the people who want it, but that number is becoming less and less and less. In the meantime, I think my number G+ is about 2,000 right now. I got to go there. So, number one is the social destination of my own. Number two is content determines destination. Now, I used to kind of go, where do I want them to go? Nope. What am I saying? Where does it go? Now, there will be times when it makes sense for it to go on the blog. I'm going to have a link here at the end of this, which is a link to my blog, because it's the type of content that belongs on the one social destination of my own. But, I'm probably going to put this thing up on, I realize this was a small recording for the NMIC, but this is so key that I'm probably going to take this recording, put it up on YouTube, and, we'll put that at that page as well. Now, obviously, getting a special blog web player and uploading some media server and that kind of stuff, that's ridiculous. The content, the recording of this event, determines the destination, and the destination, for the event of this video that you're probably watching right now is YouTube. And, so number one, social destination one of my own. Now, no longer these multiple sites. It's going to make my life easier. Content determines the destination. Number three, strategy for every destination. I know lots of arrows on this page. This is key. I mean, basically, I got to have an email strategy. I still have to have that. I have to have an SMS strategy. I have to have a Facebook strategy. I know this might surprise some of you, I might even need a QR code strategy. I need one for every single destination. Now, I only have one destination of my own, so at least I don't have to have strategies for all my other things, but I got to have a strategy for every destination out there. That's what I'm working on. Number four, rapid real-time content creation is best. I'm recording a webinar right now, and we've got the interactivity with this pen and everything now, so you can see what's important. And I'm creating a piece of content that I made the executive decision. I'm going to put this up live for everybody. And now I've got a piece of content that's going to be viewed by a lot of people, considerably more rich than if I would have spent, the hour writing, if you will, and considerably more viable. And the destination, is going to be YouTube for the main content, but the interactive page is going to be, the link I'm going to show you next. I mean, it makes sense. Now, this is key. I'm going to produce content for attention. What is going to get me the most attention? What is different than, and not in the spoiled brat 6-year-old kid, I want attention. The fact of the matter is my Facebook postings, I showed you those pictures previously, my Facebook postings are getting far more attention than my blog is getting. My Google Plus is getting far more attention than my blog is getting. My YouTube is getting far more attention than my blog is getting. And attention is good. Attention is what translates to sales. And now, one of the ways to get attention, one of the most powerful attention grabbers is an email. I showed you those numbers earlier, so I'm going to have an email strategy. That's all going to stay there. But basically, strategy for every destination, rapid real-time content produced for attention. And then finally, and this one's key, you guys know me, I'm going to step away from the tech. Step away from the tech. And this is why Kelly and K9 is so viable. This is a WordPress template system that I feel comfortable with. I like the look. I like the feel. It is my one social destination. I can change things up at the top if I need to, the background banner, even if I wanted to have goofy font there or something like that, it's all there. I can now go back to, rapid real-time content creation, and producing it for attention because I'm staying away from the tech. See how all of this comes together? Now, Kelly, you're not just a WordPress guy by any means. You and I have chatted about this several times. What do you think about these 6 steps? Any comments from you just in a general, social media strategy process?
Well, I like it. It makes sense. I think that this is it's actually, in some ways, you think it's a big shift in the way that you were thinking, but with what you've been teaching in the past, I think this is just a minor evolution. It's that concept of I think Steve Jobs simplifies it by saying, is the computer the center of all the devices, or is it the cloud? In this case, the blog used to be the center of everything because it was the home base for the content, where it was effectively be destination, but you could consume it in other areas. You simply have moved that off to the side now, and the blog becomes, paulcolligan.com, becomes, I guess, very similar to the Twitter page, the Google Plus page, the Facebook page, all those things. And it's actually, in some ways, it's a minor shift. It's still about producing content that your audience is interested in and letting them pick up that content any way that they want to. And you know me, I'm still an email guy, and I'll be pissed when you get rid of email, because the way I run my inbox, which may not be the best way, but that is my aggregator of information, notifications, and stuff, and I'm so used to and comfortable with it. I don't want to have to, try to break in something, a new way to aggregate.
Well, and I'm not going to get rid of email. But email becomes one destination. What's funny is, my blog, I used to have all these different blogs. I now have one social online destination of my own, and then I'm leveraging everybody else's infrastructure for all the other destinations. The email destination will be the destination because you end up in Outlook or whatever your browser is. And, texting is a destination. I don't care what phone system you're using, and Facebook's a destination, and Twitter's a destination, and I come up with all these things. So yeah, it's minor, but at the same time, it's considerably easier. I had on my to-do list, every Monday I would create a blog post. Why? Well, because I wanted to have a consistent blogging strategy. Well, why? Blogging was getting far less attention than other things. I'm now producing content for the sake of attention with a strategy for every destination.
Yep.
And I'm stepping away from the tech. The last theme infrastructure I had, paid you good money to have you tweak it and modify it and change it, to do my bidding. And every time I needed to change, I'm like, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about this? Now, the email that it would take me to say, hey, Kelly, get rid of the Twitter link and put in the new Comcast social network link, I could do the thing myself. And it just changes the whole game. So it's minor, yes, absolutely minor, but the focus and what this enables me to do is just absolutely tremendous. And what's even funnier is it kind of lets me be, I'm working less, but in some ways there's almost an element of me being able to be sloppier than I've ever been before. One of the things that's interesting back with the with the iTunes link, actually I'm going to go to this one because it's an interesting one. I don't know how far all of my listeners are inside of the infrastructure here, but in the days of in the days before this announcement, when I bought a movie, I had this panic because I got it on my computer once. And then what happened was I had to make sure that I had backups, and okay, it goes on my iPhone. Am I going to take it on the road with me for the iPads or something that I could put on the kids, iPods? It's a one type of thing. Now when I buy the movie, it's in the cloud. And so now, now I can, from the airport, download the movie from the cloud to my iPad, and watch it on the airplane. And if my kids go, can I get this? I say yes or no. They put it on there. And then, of course, if I want to put it on my computer, it's there and it's easy. So I can be considerably more, sloppy isn't the right word, but I don't have to be as worried about what's going to go right, what's going to go wrong, and this type of stuff with this new approach to things, because now, I only have one destination that I have to worry about, and I'm no longer blogging because I'm supposed to blog because that's what all the cool kids do. Which my wife points out, it's not what all the cool kids do. It's what Sal's awesome blog of Nothing and Lane blog come from. It is a media format. It's just not what it used to be, and not as powerful as it used to be. So now, Paul sits down. I'm no longer managing multiple destinations. I'm managing one. And the tech got out of the way, so it's a lot easier to manage. I'm now determining when content needs to be released. This was a webinar. How am I going to do it? Right now, GoToWebinar is the best platform. The recording, we're going to put the recording of this thing on YouTube because I've got the account that will let me do that. Content determines the destination. The strategy for every destination is, okay, will I email people about this? Probably. Will I SMS people about this? Those on that list? Yes. Rapid real-time content creation is best. This is so much better than, 2-month series of blog posts, and it was produced considerably quicker. I'm producing content solely for the purpose of attention, which will get reaction, which will get sales and these types of things. And then finally, I am stepping away from the tech. So yes, a minor change, but at the same time a radical change, and that's what I'm having a fun time sharing it with you guys. So we've got I've got two sites for you right now. If you go to paulcolligan.com/social3, and it's funny because when I started doing this, I really like this Social 3 idea, and to be honest, the old Paul, I went out and I wanted to see if there were domain names that I could get, and obviously Social 3 was taken. But I was looking at different domain names. I'm like, no, I have one social destination now. Social destination is paulcolligan.com. The Social 3 conversation is at /social3. Simple, easy. Now, Kelly, obviously, this theme is not just being produced for me, or else they wouldn't have a website that sells the Colligan theme if it was just for me. And they're selling the Colligan theme as part of what they've done. And if you go out to paulcolligan.com/Paul's theme, you'll get the link out to Howling Dog theme, specifically Paul's theme. And essentially what I've done is pretty much all of my affiliate commission we're cutting with a coupon that's on that page. And so you guys are going to be able to get my theme, what did we just say, 40% less than everybody else? Was that it?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So so if you head over there, you'll be able to buy my theme for 40%. And if you're pretty aggressive in the WordPress space, we're putting 40% off your entire engine as well. Correct?
Yes. Yeah. Anything in the store, if whatever you add, you have two choices. You can buy an individual theme like the Colligan theme, or you can buy our developer pack, which includes our whole theme, everything that we're doing over the next year. Of course, all the support and questions. Like we'll be learning this from you, Paul, actually, doing our twice-a-month office hours with live with us, the developers. So you have a place to go when you do have hiccups or issues to get your stuff solved. So that's your other choice. It's 40% off. You add Colligan 40 in when you go to checkout, and at the bottom of the checkout screen, you'll see where it shows you the discount and the final price. So
yeah, and all that's on the page, and very cool. So pretty much answered a bunch, and we've only got a small crowd in on this live. Typically, small group at the NMIC shows up live, and then the rest catch the recording. And I know that I've decided here executively to put the recording out there live. But if any of you inside have any questions, go ahead and pop those up. I've got the Q&A interface open, and we will take those. What has come in, what's the difference between this and the other theming platforms?
That's a great question. One of the things, again, it's from a biased source, me, but where this all came about was I build websites for small businesses. I have for full-time for 3 years. I've been doing online work for 8, and I've been working with WordPress since WordPress version 1.3. And what happened is all the different theming systems, each one of them did things either not well or clunky, or it was very difficult to do stuff. And then when you go back 6 months later to make a change, where did they hide this? How do you do that? How do you edit this? So we started out of necessity in an internal use only, built our own framework and theme system. And now with the way we have it now with that control panel, you'll see arguably that we've got more options. It's easier to control. The combination of giving controls to the things that you would do most often, but yet allowing customization for to go crazy if you want. Just as an example, we don't have a control for adding a copyright to the bottom of a website. That seemed like an unnecessary, cumbersome piece, because how do you write your how do you write your copyright? Paul has it different on his site. Every client I have has it written a little differently on their site, and so instead, just stick it in the widget, in the footer widget, format it any way you want. That's where we found that struck that balance, I think, between having a ridiculous number of controls where everything has to go through an interface, and giving you flexibility to have control over the things that you want control over. But we've gotten tons of feedback, let alone our own use, even within the last 6 months, using other theme frameworks, that ours is arguably the most easiest to use. I mean, we've built a better mousetrap here. as the saying says.
And this is why, you know, and you talk about work that you've done. I mean, you helped customize my last blog for me. So
yes.
You know, it's not like, you know, you handed me a card at an event and said, oh, I want to sell WordPress themes. I mean, this is something you've been doing for a while. And
well, and we'll just say your site was on a top WordPress theme system, and it claims that you can do all this customization, quote unquote. Well, you could, but unless you wanted a site that looked like all the other sites built with that theme,
right. You had to hire somebody like Kelly to make
well,
it happen.
Exactly. It took us longer to customize that theme to make it look like this site does than it would have been just to code the whole thing from scratch. That's how quote unquote flexible it was. Whereas this particular theme, you can take pretty much any design and you can code it to a WordPress theme in easily half the time. I mean, you can do a theme like Paul's site, paulcolligan.com, and you can do that in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's just, and it's not like it's hard. It's just at some point you got to fit the background in. You upload the whatever. You set the color to this. You set the color to, but it just walks through. It's very simple, mentally easy, and it cuts development time down incredibly. So you know, and the tricks only come in when, you know, if you've got like unique shadows, and there is some unique shadowing in the underneath the nav bar and the top of the sidebars, the way that the light is. We had to go in and do a little custom CSS to make that work and make it flexible, so it goes left, right, up, and down, all the different ways you could have used it. But it goes really fast. I can take a simple theme, and I can code it in 30 minutes, and I've got a live working WordPress website. And there isn't another theme out there, system that we know of that we can do things that quickly. And again, I admit it's a biased source, right? I mean, you're asking me. It's like, obviously I built this the way I would use it and the way I wanted it done. And we've used it on hundreds of websites, literally hundreds. Every one of them client websites. So not a bunch of WordPress nerds who love the tech and came together and said, oh, we got to do a framework. How would we do that? This is out of pure necessity and dealing with literally hundreds of clients that we've built WordPress websites for. That's where this framework came from. It wasn't until 6 months ago we said, hey, why don't we, you know, this is actually a good system. Let's make this available to the public. And it was never our intention. So now we've cleaned up a few things. We've got we got additional guys on our team. Everything's now being tracked with a system called Subversion, all tracking, revision, source code testing, all that stuff. Now we rolled in, because when we were using it ourselves, you can get away with being a little bit, you know, sloppy. It's okay if this doesn't work perfectly. I'll just work around it to, you know, putting in all the bells and whistles and support, so that from this point forward, anyone who uses our theme is going to get a solid platform to work from.
Yeah. Well, and it's solid, and I've been playing with it for a while. This isn't like they just put it up today. We made that modification today. One question came in. Awesome. I missed the beginning. When is this going to go live on YouTube? If all goes well, I'll just take the recording here from GoToWebinar, upload it straight to YouTube, and go from there. So should be, you know, if all goes well, by the end of the day. But of course, one of the benefits of going live is that if anything goes bad with the recording, you at least saw it live. But the GoToWebinar has been pretty solid for me. This is where I'm going, and it's funny because in some ways it's a minor change. In some ways it's a radical change. I've got one destination now. It's run by Howling Dog Themes and the K9 Control Panel. You guys met Kelly. I see where it came from. What I like about Kelly is not just the tech, but he also represents just a calm, cohesive, let's learn from where things are going, and let's build the best mousetrap to capture the mouse at task. I have a level of comfort and excitement about this new direction that I just simply haven't had in quite some time. And, you know, my last overambitious blog network paradigm it got the better of me, and it just wasn't doable and it wasn't possible. And this is very doable. This is very possible. It's very manageable, and I'm really excited about it. So again, let's continue the conversation at paulcolligan.com/social3. If you're watching this at YouTube, I guess you can put the comment there as well, but I think it would help if you put it over at Social3. But of course, I'm not worried about the destination. I'm only worried about the conversation, and I will check both. If you guys want to pick up the Colligan theme, obviously you can make it look a lot not like mine, but have the power that I've grabbed a hold of. You're getting 40% off, and you're not getting that at Kelly's site. So that's over at paulcolligan.com/Paul's theme. A bunch of you are saying thanks in the Q&A. Thank you. Always a blast. Kelly, thank you so much. Everybody have a great day.
Paul.
We will get this up soon. Bye, everybody.